in normal fashion, everything breaks down at the last minute. The very last minute, everything's like, this is out of sync. That's out of sync. This is out of sync. Good luck getting this off in time. But totally my fault. We understand if it wasn't for the last minute, you wouldn't get anything done. But trust me, I was working on this and then I wasn't. I said, let me eat, let me relax, let me be a human. And said, no. You should have stayed, kept that tension tight the entire time. Keep it going. That way you'd be ready. But here we are, right? So listen, we're gonna get into this. There's a lot that I wanted to bring up. I wanted to talk about, and I want to see if the last minute changes got added into it. As usual, don't really know. We don't really know, but we're gonna check it right now. I just added a last minute little tags. Looks like we're good on that, at least the title. So if people walk in, I want them to know what we're going to be talking about in that sense. But we wouldn't really call it a fireside chat if we didn't have our little candle. So shout out to the people that made it in. Just Miss Jazz, Shavaris, as usual. Thank you guys. Jazz, we missed you on the last one. You had to probably be a mother, or you probably had to work. Shame on you. Especially since that whole stream was all about you, as a representative of the girls. So yeah, we got the candle. So fireside chat, officially fireside chat. Again, we would be remiss if we didn't start the whole thing about how we still don't understand the YouTube algorithm, how it picks and chooses what it pushes, but we understand we are in not even 1 year into our 4 to 5 year game plan, right? At year 4, that's when I'm allowed to officially start complaining and saying, I've been shadow banned, this thing hates me, and all this. Yeah, listen, officially, if you ever want to be part of the fireside chat, if you want to get on screen, you got to light a candle. Right, that's the new arbitrary rule that we're going to implement, that no one asks for and no one actually cares to do. But I think we want to add a little class. Right? There's never been anything wrong with being a little class and to join up. Especially sometimes when we got to talk about heavier things. Right, we got to talk about heavier things, but we still want to see if we can have some fun with it. We still want to be at least entertaining with all this that we got going on. So shout out to Marissa for the candles, first and foremost, right? I want to make sure, I don't know how these levels sound to you. I don't want the background to be distracting, but I do want to have a little ambiance, right? The small little improvements we try to make, a little bit of ambiance. Never hurt anybody. Did I? Yeah, I still got it. I still got it linked. So time to time, someone remind me to hit that. So listen, very simple. Right, we're gonna start strong with the understanding right here of the whole CNN article, and we talked about this, but the internet took it and ran, and the internet taking and running with it also showed us a lot about what kind of plagues our community today. I mean, we're going to keep it specific, especially with the black people, right? But this is not a black issue. This is definitely not a black issue, especially I think with the demographic in which that article was talking about, where they went, wasn't heavily black based. But in the conversation about how awful men are, unfortunately, our women seem to have quite a bit to say about that, quite a bit to use and judge and say, yeah, part of the evils of the society today, black men, right? Or more importantly, your inattention or our lack of being up in arms for the things that they want us to be up in arms about. So if you're upset about, they said that we weren't out there supporting Kamala, well, then you were upset at us. Didn't matter really the fact. None of that mattered, because we were up against a feeling. And I want to start this whole stream with the idea, with the question, with the understanding that when has it ever been possible? Music has some reverb, right? We got like a couple tracks. We got 4 tracks. I'm gonna expand that over time. So, but I'm not the music expert. So you guys that are actually listening to this, let me know what it sounds like. Let me know if you like it, you don't like it. If you don't like it, tough. I kind of like it in my ear. It feels good. Rather than getting another AirPod, putting it in, syncing it to something else. Don't make me work too hard for this. The whole point is to still give you guys some entertainment. For some people that are walking around, just throw it in your ear. You still cleaning up. You're getting ready for bed. You're unwinding, maybe with some wine or something. Want to make sure you feel good. Oh, there's an echo you hearing? Oh, okay. Give me one. I think I know exactly what. Okay. How's it sound now? Any echo? Little delay. Let me know if you hear an echo. As I'm talking about it right now, I think that should be good. It almost makes me want to, all right. Okay. I can kind of see what was the issue, but so part of what we want to talk about is sometimes there's a lack of care for the facts, right? Facts have to matter. We come from a whole type of, I'm going to say society, we come off the whole type of endeavor of facts or words or truth not being important. They matter. We got to hone down on those things. We came from society not too long ago where the push was more feelings over anything. The way I felt about something was more important than the reality of it. And I think this is one of the things that are still kind of echoing here. And one of the silly reasons why it's causing a divide amongst men and women here. I think for us to properly start the conversation, right? For those that don't know or aren't versed in the article, CNN investigative reporting, they found that there was an online R-word academy specifically for men teaching other men how to R-word their wives or their significant others while they slept, how to drug them, how to start at smaller dosage and work its way up. Then they filmed it, they shared it. Then sometimes they even had other people come in and do it to that wife, that lady that was asleep, that was drugged. This is what people are up in arms about. Full stop. This is a good thing to be up in arms about. This is one of those things. Hey, find those men, right, that were part of this group, and people in this secret group, this secret Telegram group, was about 1,000 strong, depending on what article you read. But the original, article is saying it was 1,000. All right, so it's 1,000 people in this group. Find them. I think 70 of them got prosecuted. They couldn't identify the others. If we want to lead a crusade about finding those, you want to put resources towards finding those, I'm all for it. I don't think anyone is saying that this should be, no, we should be sort of lenient here. No, everyone's saying, throw them under the bus, throw them under the jail. Again, like I said on the other stream, maybe you forget on the way from where you picked them up from to take them to prison, you find them in a ditch, dismembered, tortured, right? Stuff like that, we're fine with. We support that. We'd get behind that, right? I drive the bus. Cool, full stop. It's not that there are 1,000 men in this group that are bad. One in that group, the one guy that had the idea for that group, all that is bad. Where we start seeing the dissent, seeing the divide, is when we start talking about the reality of it. The article is almost purposely obtuse in it. It's just enough for you to, if you were glossing over it or you simply just heard it from someone else, that you just be up in arms about. But when you read it, it's talking about the website, right? Motherless. That's the name of the website. As you can tell by the name, it's already quite terrible. But that is the name of it, and it's a file hosting site where you can upload whatever content you want that people feel that should have a place on the internet. Like they have Rumble, which is supposed to be all about free speech, no matter who's on it, and you can get your cast of conservative characters on it. Well, they can say what they want, and they don't have to listen to the terms and conditions of YouTube. But YouTube will say, yeah, and if you guys are not on, as a creator on YouTube, you know that YouTube is left-leaning. There's some topics some words that you simply avoid because YouTube will demonetize your entire platform. Think about what it took to get from here, where we are at 4,000 subscribers, 900,000 views, just shy of 1 million, right? We're walking towards that. We've been doing this for a year at an accelerated rate. This channel got monetized in 2.5 months, which is incredible in the larger scope of things. But it's a testament to the hard work. It's a testament into trying to grow and do better. It's a testament to discipline. So imagine we do this for 5, 6, 7 years, grow the channel, right? We've got a silver play button, 100,000 views, right? 100,000 subscribers strong. People interacting with videos, 20, 30,000 views per video. And then YouTube says, I don't like what you said here. It's gone. I quit my job. I sit here. You guys support me by your views, by your donations, by your super chats, all of those things. And then all of a sudden, it's simply just, it's gone. I have to look and understand that that is what it is. Since you host on YouTube, you have to adhere to what YouTube says. Point blank, period. That's it. People that go into it expecting the complete freedom of speech, they're being silly. They're being stupid. That's not how it works. That's not how it goes. So other people create sites like Rumble, where it's supposed to be a bastion of free speech. Then there's other places on the internet, places not so cornered, not so dark, not so you can get to these places where they'll host anything. And a lot of these places end up being overseas, where their laws are different from ours. Their internet laws are different from ours. The way they even look at piracy is different from ours. But since the internet is global, it's not as if it's not like I'm actually getting myself on a plane, having a stamp on my passport and flying over there to these places. No, it's easy for me to just access it. I just need to know where to go. Like people that, were buying stuff from Silk Road, you had to understand, or you had to understand how to get to those places. But once you have that knowledge, it's not hard to get that knowledge. You find places like this. Motherless is one such place. Now, you think of what Motherless, think of it as a conglomerate. Think of it as a building, right? As a farmer's market. And you go in there and you want vegetables, you want steaks, you want seafood. But somewhere in that dark corner, you want some stuff that, you shouldn't be having, right? Illegal shark fin, right? Bat, stuff that allegedly caused, COVID. You want that stuff over there. You want endangered meat, endangered game. You want all that. There's a place over there. And it's not actually on the place. It's not at the farmer's market. There's a link to the place. The farmer's market said, we won't even host this here, but you can leave directions. That's what happened. Directions were left for the place. The link to the Telegram was left on the Motherless site. So we pull back. We have a larger view and we say, what's going on the Motherless site? Oh, 62 million views in a month. That is the factoid that they took that and they said, this is extraordinarily awful. 62 million views. Well, how many men in the United States? We have 350 million people in the United States. You say half of that is, you give it to that and say that's men. And then, look how many men went there. Did you have visitors from another site from the United States? You absolutely did. Again, we're a global, internet is global. You're going to have people hitting wherever they can hit. Now, does that mean that we need to say that everyone that went to the Motherless site went to that Telegram? No, the Telegram group had its registered users, 1,000. Those men. Now, it's a very different conversation to talk about 62 million men, which again, views don't equate to men. Views account to how many times you visited a site, this month, and then you multiply that out by how many other people. If we could be honest for a second, say how many people visited P-Hub, right, this month, and then you just go to the next person. How many times you did? Did you? Some people are there hours upon days, hours and hours. It's the same way you're saying how many people viewed OnlyFans versus how many registered users were there. You're always going to have the views are always going to be astronomically higher. But this is just, you know, common sense. This is where we find ourselves in a position that doesn't make any sense, where we have abandoned the common sense part of it and simply said, yo, 62 million men, we went from views to men because we weren't thinking and we was fine. It sounds better. So 62 million men went there and said, and visited site. 62 actual individuals said, I got nothing better to do. Let me learn how to do this. Let me learn how to drug my significant other, my wife, and then have other people come. I want to know. I want to get good at this game. So this is a place to host it. Again, we're not talking about people that were in a Telegram group. There were not 62 million people in the Telegram group, 1,000 men in that Telegram group. But it doesn't seem to matter. And this is where we find ourselves at this point of contention, where when you point out a fact, you point out and say, hey, you know, you come to me, right? You're my ace boom coon, right? Or someone that I'm close to. You know, I'm a confidant. I'm a good friend of yours. And you tell me, hey, I'm outraged. So yeah, okay, talk to me. You talking about your 62 million men. I say it wasn't 62 million. Now you're upset at me because I simply didn't fall into what you were saying. It's not that I can't hold space. We're complex humans, right? We're complex creatures. I got enough hate in my heart to hate multiple things at the same time. I can hate the guys that did that, and I can hate the inaccuracy in which you are now peddling. I look at you and say, you didn't do any research. You didn't actually look. You just joined the outrage chain and it left the station. You never stopped and said, when I'm being influenced in this way, what's the purpose? What's the goal? Why am I doing this? You just said, I'm upset. And that has to be enough. Because I'm upset, you don't feel the same way I do. At least because you said, hey, let's be genuine about this. Let's look at the facts. Somehow I'm wrong. I'm part of the problem. We run into this thing called the no Scotsman's fallacy, where some of the conversations we're seeing online is like, yo, it's all men. And if you don't agree with this, you're part of the men. You're part of the issue. And this is a common sort of trope, a common way to have these discussions or not have discussions, have your point come across and not be challenged. When you see female creators come on and say something like, you know, all men are dogs and I will not be elaborating. You've closed off the argument. So when I come in here and say, well, no, this guy with this, well, he must not be blah, blah, blah. You give a reason why he's not. They call it no Scotsman's fallacy because it said, you know, no Scotsman puts sugar in his oatmeal. They said, yeah, he puts sugar in his oatmeal. He must not be a true Scotsman. It's closed off. It's a closed door thing where it doesn't allow any type of critique, any type of criticism. You just get to stay there and feel that way. You feel good, and no one gets to challenge you. No one gets to say, hey, you might be off base here. It's self-sustaining. And at that point, what are we supposed to do in terms of we want to come here and interject some reality? Because some of the responses we're seeing, some of the responses are like, yo, you're so upset. You're so upset, right? You're angry at men in general. You're saying like we're evil, we're scum. And we're going to get to a lot of these. We're going to talk about this a little bit. You're scum. And we have to sit here and take it knowing we didn't know about any of this. Right? We're in the trenches with you. We're fighting for our life, right? We're looking at the price of gas. Just tick, 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 tick. We're like, God damn. And now you're telling me about this. Okay, this is terrible. What you're telling me is absolutely terrible. What happened to those guys? Oh, you don't know. Wait a second. Did you read the article? Can you send me the article? No, you saw someone's TikTok and that was enough. You saw someone's TikTok and that was enough for you. So because I want to be clear, I want to be cognizant, I want to know what the facts are here. You're telling me about something's terrible. As a man, I'm naturally say, give me the details. I want the detalles. I want to know what's actually going on here. I want to know because men, we want to direct this vitriol somewhere rather than just saying, like women are doing, It's you men. At some point, you have to understand, right? As women, you have to understand that men get to the point where they're like, listen, shorty, love of my life, all those things. Are you mad at me for something that a man did and across the world, a group of men did over there? 1,000 men in a Telegram group. I'm responsible. I'm part of the 4.5 billion men on this planet. I'm responsible for what 1,000 men did over there. Even 5,000, even just one. I'm responsible for that. What am I supposed to do to alleviate and fix this? Again, this is how men think. There has to be a solution. There has to be something we're supposed to do. What is it we're supposed to do? How do we fix this? How do we alleviate your stress outside of simply sitting there and listening to you? But as we're listening to you, you're cutting us down. You're telling men, yo, you ain't shit. Yeah, this is why we picked the beer. Okay. I didn't argue when you said you picked the beer. I understood why you said you picked the beer, even in hyperbole. I understand you picked the beer. Cool. This is a thought experiment. There's no bearing on reality. It just says, okay, you don't like men. Study comes out and says most women have an unfavorable opinion of men. Most young women, 70% of them have an unfavorable opinion. It's flipped the other way. We're not saying, don't cut me on the numbers. I can bring those stats up for you later. But most young men have a favorable position, thought about women, 70%. The other side, not so much. Not so much. Right? I've got a video in the lineup that's coming out, so we're going to talk about that. Right? Or you can catch the live stream, which I just set up the 24-hour live to just let that play. But the reality is, you've been primed for the hate. You've been primed, and in the priming for it, I'm not saying it's not warranted. I'm not saying that men aren't a danger to women. I'm not saying that. If you want to look at it in the sense of who's your natural predator, and women say it's men, fine, cool. It smudges the definition of prey and predator, but okay. You're saying that the leading cause of death among women is going to be men. It's not, but I get what you're feeling here. And sometimes what we end up doing, we simply take a step back and say, okay, cool, feel. That's the way we've learned to sort of deal with you as you're just being emotional. Me coming in and trying to logic this thing down doesn't really work. Never has really worked. Never has worked. So what I do is I create the space, right? I create the space for you to talk, for you to feel comfortable expressing the hurt, the pain, the anguish, whatever. Create the space. I create the boundary. Go crazy in there, bounce around, all what you do what you need to do in there. But the minute you start trying to cross that boundary, still holding on to that feeling, and a lot of it may not be factually true, I've got to push back and say, before you go out there, let's get things straight. I'm not saying to reduce your enmity. I'm not saying that somehow because I'm telling you it's 1,000 versus 62 million, that this is somehow going to change the way you feel outraged. No, I want you to go out with a better idea of the reality of the world. Not that 60% of the men in America are going to look to drug you while you sleep in bed with me. That's not what I want you to go out here and think. I want you to go here with the same understanding. We're always concerned about your safety, especially when you're ours, when you're close to us. We're always concerned about your safety. If you guys can go out trained and armed, we'd love it, right? Armed to the T, like Rambo, with the guns, grenades, the knife, all that, with the willingness to do violence, all of those things. We would love it. We would absolutely love it. Keep yourself safe. Not to the point where it put you under lock and key, but I want you to have the idea that your safety is paramount. Your safety is important. But I don't want you out here completely exhausting yourself, being hypervigilant because you bought into the idea that 60% of the men in America are your enemy. Most of us are too scared to talk to you. Most of us don't want to be labeled creeps, so we give you birth, we give you space. Every day you go out there and interact with men, they're everywhere. You can't avoid them. The minute you step out your place, your apartment, your house, you're going to see a man. And most of the time, if he sees you, it's nothing. This is not to say, it's not to reduce your level of concern, your level of awareness. You still want to maintain those, but you have to have an accurate representation of what's happening. Otherwise, you fall into this trap that Everyone is bad. Every man is bad. They all should be put on the, put on a lock and key. They should have ankle monitors on them, and we should just simply get rid of them. You can walk down that path, but you're going to end up like French Montana says. You're going to end up blocking your blessings, because the majority of us don't wish you any ill. The majority of us would love a chance to love one of you. Again, this is not to reduce anxiety. It's not, but it's to say that facts matter. A lot of the pushback you're seeing is because people will come and say, hey, but that's not actually what happened. Now, because you haven't jumped on the bandwagon, you simply didn't join and say, yo, I've always been a fan of Golden State Warriors. My daddy was a fan of Golden State Warriors. What, they're in Oakland? Oh, I never heard of it. This is not to say that you simply have to jump on. But we have to sit here and say there's nuance, there's understanding what's happening. Because I push back and say, cool, I can hold the outrage in one hand. I can hold it there. Right? I'm human enough to. I got enough space for hate in my heart. The Sith would love us as on Earth. You guys are terrible. I can say this is awful on one hand, and I also could say let's be accurate about where we direct our vitriol. This is when we see the next level of a problem. That the minute you disagree, you've got to be called out. You've got to be put on the out. There's something intensely wrong with you because you don't agree. And then we start seeing takes like this on both sides. We start seeing men and women say this very same thing, that because you are not vehemently ready to jump down someone's throat, you are not looking and saying that this person is evil, then there's something wrong. And now you're suddenly part of the problem. Me saying, let's be accurate about what happened is not a bad thing. It's not somehow me taking away from the fact that this thing happened. This is just me saying, can we be accurate about this? One is too many, right? We get that. We're on record saying that one is too many. But 1,000 feels like a manageable number to track down. 1,000 feels like, hey, we can make some real legwork onto this, to find who these people are, to pressure these sites, to hack into these. We can probably do some work and get this done. If we can get those, we can get at least a large majority of those 1,000, maybe we start feeling a little better. Sends a message that, yo, internet be damned, anonymity be damned, we can find you. You do something heinous like this, you sign up for something like this, I want to know who you are. I want to know who you are, and I want to warn the women in your life. I want to warn them to say, the person you're with is not okay, it's not safe. If any of this sounds familiar, you suddenly falling asleep, bouts of lethargy, anything like that, then you need to take some time away and get to the bottom of what may have happened to you. We're fine understanding that. We're fine. I don't think you'll find anyone that disagrees with that, any man that disagrees with that. But thinking that there's 62 million, I won't say that did that, would imply that there's also a large number of, in the millions, in the tens of millions of victims that did this. So we say that you're primed. You're ready to be upset. And this becomes evident, this becomes obvious when you look and say that it doesn't really matter the facts of what's happening here. We look at the incidents and we say simply, wow, this is an emotional response. It has no facts, don't matter. A lot of the content that's coming out then, especially when I see it from men, they're saying, yo, it doesn't really matter. Is it 62 million men? Is it 62 million views? How many is too many? No, they're saying women have an emotional moment. Cool. I get that. But using misleading facts because someone's having an emotional moment, that's never been the make it okay. You cannot chase emotion with logic and think you can overtake it. Emotion drives a Veyron, and it drives it very fast. Logic is a slow driver. It's a 4-cylinder. Hey, it's great on gas. You would love it right now, but it takes time. It has to make the connections. It needs the time to say, if P, then Q. Modus tollens. This has to work this way. Emotion doesn't care about anything. It just, oh, where's the highway? Point me in the direction of the highway. In fact, I'm gone. I'm just gone. Right? It doesn't care that it's balded the tires. It doesn't care that the brakes are overheating. It's going because it feels like that. And there's nothing you could do to get in front of it. There's nothing you can do to stop it. There's nothing you could do to hail it, to call it. Nothing. You can't logic that. The only thing you could do is meet it with more emotion, but all that does is add nitrous to the engine. No, emotion's got to be slow. It's got to be stoic. It's got to take time, but it's just as important. So the minute I come back and I say, hey, that's actually not what happened here. Can we have a little bit of dialogue about the reality of it? And then we can adjust how upset we want to be. I think that's a fair notion. I think that makes sense in the scheme of things, especially when you don't have CNN jumping and saying, whoa, you guys got this wrong. You fell into the trap that we left wide open. CNN is not being, being like, yo, you activated my trap card. Here you go. You just walked right into it. Now you're enraged. While you're enraged, let me tell you about these other things. Right now, while I'm got you pointing at other men and saying, yo, you know how evil, how bad, how awful these people are? These guys are not your friends. These guys are the actual regular deck. These guys are the enemy. No. I for one, and this is a very logical response, I'd rather have 1,000 enemies than 62 million. I'd rather have 1,000 identifiable enemies than 62 million identifiable enemies. And look, if people launch a real investigation into something like this and they find out it was more than 1,000, cool, keep digging. Just like the Ashley Madison, when that whole thing was leaked and people made the database searchable, you got to find out, oh, this person was this person was this person. Do as you will, do as you must, especially people that visit this thing, sign up for it onto the Telegram because they want to be kept abreast of these things all the time. Throw them on the bus. Go for it. Hey, go for it. Don't mess it. Don't even worry about it. Take care of it. Do what you got to do. But until we cross that bridge, the fact that we can't have an intellectual discussion about the truth behind it, that I can't come back and offer you, hey, that's actually not what happened. That was misleading. You don't want to be fact checked when you're feeling primed and upset. But it goes a step further when you start making fun of people, when you start calling people everything but a child of God because they simply don't agree with you, because you are looking at your outrage and saying, my outrage is more important than the truth in this matter. And you've got male and female creators doing this. I've got a whole host of those saved. So one of the videos that I think, primed a lot of this that Travar sent to me yesterday was about a psychologist or a counselor, a therapist. And he was talking about how he's so disappointed in men. And I listened to it. It's 6 hours, it's 6 minutes and 30 seconds. But it's what you would expect. It's what we've been hearing right now about how awful men are, how we are dropping the ball in this sort of sense. And my question now becomes, even if I believe that, even if I gave you the 62 million men, I said it was 62 million, what he was saying was like that we have to do more. We have to be the ones in there doing something. Is it holding other men accountable? Okay. I don't hold any fealty towards y'all out there. I don't know you. I don't know you too. I don't have any option. I don't have the right to tell you what to do with your life or how to govern it. Once we meet and once you become part of the close circle, part of that requisite is me getting to know you, me understanding you. And then once you're there, once you're that close, then I have the ability to come and say, hey, you're living kind of foul. You're living kind of foul. In fact, we got to go work on a couple of things. The way you reason, the way you're mental, all these things I'm concerned about. I want you to be better. Now, in my presence, you start talking about, hey, let me know when she goes to the bathroom so I could put something in a drink. when I look at you and you're not joking, and then when your jaw's on the floor, then we understand. Then we can start the conversation. That's how we police our own. But I'm not responsible for men across the world, or people that logged in the site that I don't know of. Having this conversation and saying that you men have to do better. In what capacity? What's the goal? What's the point of telling me, yo, you're disappointed in me? What am I supposed to be doing? For a problem I had no hand in causing. I try to live a different type of life, a more upstanding type of life. I try to be careful with my words. I try to be careful about where I go, what times I go, of the men around me. I try to make sure they're of a certain caliber. I try to make sure that I still can uphold those things. You don't really see me on this channel cursing, throwing F-bombs, N-words. You don't really see that. Because my thought is also, I'm trying to set an example. Also, if my mom sees this, there's a conversation that's about to be had for 3 hours. So I try to be judicious about what I do and how I move, whom I move with. What am I supposed to do to fix this? That's how men, and this is me talking to the men, calling out on the men. What am I supposed to do to actually fix this? Outside of me listening to people if they want to talk about it, what am I supposed to do? For you to feel as if you're disappointed. That men came and said, hey, I want to interject some truth into this. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be outraged. I'm not saying you should be upset, but it's not this number. Why is that a disappointment? We cannot exist in a place where you simply have to get on brand with everything that someone says in order for you to be okay, for you to be copacetic, for you to pass the test. You simply have to agree with what everyone says. We can't have that type of society. We can't have that type of existence. You have to have people that come and say, facts matter. What we ended up doing, because we stopped thinking about facts, we stopped thinking about figures, we stopped thinking about reality, we made it malleable, and we said, however you feel, that becomes the most important thing. What would happen? We had Title IX, people challenging Title IX. You had men, saying that they identified as women and competing in women's sports. And you said, fine, it's because they feel like this and we have to support this. Okay, agreed. But in this sort of sense, these women that train all their lives for these people come in with a biological advantage. And it's a science. This is not a feeling thing. But since we're in the wave of feelings, it's a feeling thing. Since everyone is more concerned about the feelings, this is what we end up talking about. The feelings, the feelings, the feelings, the feelings. So you end up messing up futures. You end up messing up the people that were supposed to have an opportunity because they studied, because they worked, because they did everything they could in this sort of space to become who they are. They don't have an opportunity to actually reap the benefits of all that work. They're just sort of left in the lurch to be who they're supposed to be here, to compete with men who were mediocre men in their sports when competing with men. That kind of just leaves them in the lurch because feelings were more important. Here we are with this opportunity to say, hey, let's talk about the truth here, and then we can get back on board about everyone being outraged. The minute I voice that opinion, say, hey, you might be a little off base. Now you're wrong. So the therapist, he goes on and on and on, and he's kind of lambasting men and saying that there's something wrong with us, that we failed in some sort of way, and that he's disappointed in men. And it becomes so irksome. It becomes some tiresome that, again, okay, great. Men are bad. Men failed to do something new. Men weren't, we didn't do this or we didn't do that. At some point, you have to understand you end up losing the plot. That at some point, men just say, stop, I'm out. Let me off the ride. It's not as if I don't care. It's not as if this is not important, that this is not something that we should be up in arms about. But at a certain point in time, we're like, yo, stop. I can't withdraw anymore from society, from this interaction with you. I can't. There's nothing left for me to do. Stop coming my way and accusing me of failing in some sort of sense. I don't even really interact with you anymore. The conversations you're having, you're talking about men not approaching women. I'm not dating. I'm not there. I'm in a log cabin somewhere. I don't interact with you, but somehow, even isolated, I'm somehow wrong. At some point, you have to understand you lost the plot and just like, just leave me alone. Now, why is this important? Because it's very simple. You're looking for men to do something about the issue. You're looking for them to correct something. They have to step up and solve the problem or be part of the force that brings that problem to heal. You get to be outraged, you get to point the finger, you get to say something must be done, and then you get to back up or simply stay in that same place, upset, angry. It's the men that have to go and say, let's go find these motherfuckers. Let's go find them, see what we can do, right? Let's track these people down. And if that case that's identified, then let's go out and do it. You see the same thing with Chris Hansen, right? With the people that started emulating those shows and setting people up using decoys and then having these men come out in the spaces and they end up sitting there meeting other, meeting men, ready to go, ready to fight about this. There was a popular, I think, YouTuber that, people got out of pocket because of him. They got him out of pocket. So you're done, right? What was that? Something? I forgot his name. But yeah, found him. Gone. Done. They continue to do this. Flat out, fighting a lot of these people. A lot of these men. Straight up fighting them. Fist fighting them. Then call the police. One show, one channel, what they'll do, they'll corner the guy and say, yo, you wanted to go to jail, you want to go home. Or they'll sit here and say, yo, you can do this boxing match. If you win, then we won't call the cops. Everyone's always with the cops being called. Because you have someone that's actually like an amateur boxer, someone that's training for this. Not someone off the street just said, let's box. No, they purposely do this. They purposely set up to inflict as much pain on this person as possible. Solution. That's what they felt like. I'm going to go out and do this. It'd be the same thing. Men would say, identify the target. All right, let's go take care of it. Let's go handle it. But when you try to target, because this becomes a status quo that it's all men, you take a small section of thing that's happening and you generalize it to all the men. So this is what you end up saying right now. You men are the problem. You got to understand. You have to understand. If you get to the point where men just say, leave me alone. Just leave me alone. Hey, ready at the fringes, ready at the edges, just leave me alone. It's yet again, you don't like this. Okay, what else is there? Leave me alone. Just and when the outrage from this is exhausted, is spent, and you find something new to be exhausted under, leave me alone still. Or you have the clamor of where have all the men go? We're tired of the push and pull. You're upset about this, and you look at me like I'm supposed to solve it. I'm do half the shit you guys are talking about, and I'm supposed to solve it. I'm responsible for it. And it can't happen, right? It can't happen. I'm just looking to say, what am I supposed to do? And that same thing goes to the men as well. When you sit now calling out other men and saying that they're so awful, or questioning the validity, women are having a moment, you just sit in it. Yet I don't work. I shouldn't be who I am as a man and say I can be upset with you, but let's hone what we're talking about here. The idea that me being concerned about facts, about not spreading misinformation, somehow makes me wrong, means I don't fully support what they're talking about. No, I can't fully support you being mad at 62 million men, or you're mad at 62 million views. I'm mad that you don't read an article. I'm mad that you simply believe what someone else told you. You saw a TikTok by someone that looked like they know what they're talking about, and you ran with it. When the internet is at your fingertips and a Google search costs you absolutely nothing. Nothing. CNN didn't redact, didn't hide the article. It's right there. You can go and look for it yourself. But video after video, post after post, all highlights that no one's reading. No one read the article. And then when someone does read the article, makes a video based on the article, you all send them death threats. This is something that we need to look back and study. We need to see when we surrendered our critical thinking in the face. And it was way before AI. It was way before AI. When we surrendered this and simply accepted the group think. The group is mad about this today. So this is what I'm mad about today. And that seems to be enough. No one has to do anything more than that, you know? Yeah. This should be a YouTube clip. Yeah, we might be able to clip this later. But yeah, it's absolutely insane, right? It's absolutely insane that this is what we end up passing for and letting it be okay. You want to be upset? Not taking that from you. I'm upset with you. But when I say, let's focus what we're upset about. Yo, you're wrong. We look at this is why we don't like this is why men are, you're the problem. This. At some point you can say, yo, stop. You're better than this. Read the article. We get to a point where it's more or less that it's not that you're upset that it's 1,000. You're upset now because you have to walk it back. We're so quick to hear something online and then make a post about it, make a TikTok about it, make a reel about it, make an Instagram video about a YouTube video, YouTube short about it, so I could be first on the scene. Do you remember a time when we were disgusted with TMZ, right? When we were back about, you know, journalistic integrity, that meant something, and the TMZ came and said, F all that noise. You want the news now? Now, breaking news, this happened. You're like, it's not really news, but it's fast. You wanted your news like hot. You wanted like Little Caesars, hot and ready. You wanted it now. Boom, we gave it to you. The problem is when we give it to you like that, you don't really get the fact check. We don't really get the fact check, but it sounds good. So run with it, take it, make something of it, and then go and push. So right now, CNN says, we're not TMZ, so we're going to work on this thing. But we also know what keeps your attention. A big fat number like 62 million is going to keep your attention. The 62 million means nothing in the scope of things. It means absolutely nothing when you're talking about a subsection of a link on a site to a Telegram group of 1,000 men. 62 million means absolutely nothing. It's all sensationalism. And we're so deep in the trenches, we can't see it for ourselves. We can't see the truth for ourselves. It just sounds good and we ran with it. This is fine. This has got to be what it is. Listen, man, I really appreciate that. Your energy delivery needs to be seen in space with communities. Yeah. I mean, listen, check out the channel, subscribe. You see how I get down. I'm not trying to decry, not trying to make fun of people. I want us to have a better conversation. And better conversation means it's an informed one. And listen, you don't have to be informed. You just got to be a little skeptical. And maybe that comes easy because born and raised in New York. I look at it and say, I don't believe you. Hey, I don't believe you. Let me go check for myself. Let me go see what I can see. Hey, I saw a post. And it was funny. It was absolutely funny. I had a post. It was Will Smith and J-Lo, and his post said, "Yo, Will Smith and J-Lo reported to be dating." And then someone said, "Yo, let that man live a little bit." I said, "Oh, this be phenomenal for like a little YouTube post to throw up. Like it throws up 9 a.m. Central Time." I said, "But let me go check first. Let me go look. Let me go Google. Let me see if this is actually true." It's not true. So what happened? What happened? I did a radical thing. I didn't post it. That can't be difficult. That can't be a difficult thing for us to look and say, let me do this first. Again, maybe it's a person thing. Maybe it's a New York thing. Maybe it's a thing. I don't want to be strong and wrong. I don't want to be talking to you right now like I am and telling you about, hey, you guys didn't read the article. Did you read the article? No. No. I read it the first time. Watched the little clip they had on it. Read it again. To make sure, no, I'm tracking what they're talking about. And it's not difficult. You don't got to spend 30 minutes reading this thing. Quick. You can see it for yourself, the sensationalism, where they want you to be upset, where they want you to get riled up. They don't tell you the straight beginning and end. They get flowery with the prose. Not necessary for a news article, but they do so. I want you primed. I want you ready. So you say this and you go that, and then you look at your man. Right? It's the same way when you looked at when they had articles about men and women on the different sides of the political divide, and women end up divorcing the husbands because they didn't vote the way they voted. When the stuff happened with ICE, when women say, I talked to my husband, he was not upset like I was upset. Something must be wrong with him. You got to stop. You got to stop and realize that you are not bigger than the program. The way you feel is not the way the family feels. It's not the determinant for the rest of the world. I disagree with what you feel. That doesn't mean we're not a unit anymore. There's simply one thing we don't agree with. Now, I had a conversation, a week or so ago, just about the differences about when men and women disagree, when men disagree with men, how we can disagree and we can get on. Cool. When women disagree with other, it's also a conflict of identities. It's a conflict of group membership, because that's what's at stake. Men understand what's at stake. We can disagree, and we got to move some furniture, right? But afterwards, let's get a beer, right? I'm not a beer guy. I'm I like more of a drink. But either way, at the end of it, men understand we can disagree. In fact, we should disagree about some things so we can come back and try to convince the other person about what they might be wrong about. Here's the facts. Here's how I feel about it. How do you feel about it? Do you have any facts? Do you have any support this? This way we can sharpen each other's argument. We should walk away from this more complete, more whole, ready to defend this to a next level, to a higher echelon when I meet someone else out in the world. You want to come and tell me, hey, Batman's a better superhero than Spider-Man? Oh, I've had this conversation. I've had this debate. It's sharp. We can talk about it now. We can talk about it now, but you don't have this ability when you stay within your little sphere, you stay within your little group, your echo chamber, and you never have to get better than you are right now. And right now, it's very easy. Echo chamber, you heard it. You never researched it. You simply heard it. They said 62 million. You didn't even hear men or views. You just heard 62 million and you repeated that. You got a little bit of context and you said, this is terrible. Then you took your phone, you hit that front-facing camera and you talked into it and you used the same silly talking points. Men bad, 62 million visitor site, up in arms, something's got to be done. This is why women choose the bear. That's it. Then the clicks and the likes and the views rolled in. You're just as culpable of CNN for this. You're just as culpable of chasing the likes, chasing the views over the facts. And then the next person sees that and says, hey, this is a wave. This is more important than the truth. I'm trying to get people to hear what this is. And I want you to come to my channel. I want you to come to my page. I want you to like it. I want you to help me. I want you to see that I'm on the side of angels and I should be monetized for this behavior. I should be rewarded for this behavior. Okay. When I see men jump on that and men try to say, well, the facts don't matter. You lost me. Everything else you say after this, I can't hear anything you're saying. I can't hear anything. Because now I'm thinking you sold your soul. You sold out. You should know better. You should have a more critical eye. You should stop and say, is it? In fact, the whole premise of your video is saying, is it 62 million? Is it 62 million men? Is it 62 million views? Does it matter? Yeah, it does. That doesn't reduce any outrage I have for this. It doesn't. It just focuses it. It's like you're playing Contra and you have a spread shot, right? That's cool. But sometimes you need a laser to get the job done. Now we're laser focused. All that rage that you had for 62 million people should have been focused on 1,000. Focus it on 1,000. You don't have to reduce the intensity. You just want to nail exactly where it should go. There should be an avalanche, a cascade, a feeling of outcry, of outpouring, say, find these people. You think you're going to find 62 million people, 62 million men that visit that site? And then what are you going to do? You're going to identify them. And then what? The same people that you looked for to say you should be up in arms and upset about this and you should be doing something about it. Those men, those are the ones that you would need to step up and do what needs to be done. You don't have that. When you sit here and you make them, you ostracize all of them. You push all of them away and you say, that's why we choose the bear. Okay, go ask the bear. Go ask the bear to go hunt down 62 million people or 1,000 people. We're getting to the point, to the tipping point in our society where people just say, yo, I'm good. Leave me alone. We should never be that far. But when we lack the critical thinking and then we lack the humility to walk stuff back and say, yo, I was wrong. I was wrong. My bad. One of the superpowers in 2026 and going forward is going to be the ability to pivot. I said this on the last stream. The ability to be confronted with real new information and simply say, yeah, I was wrong. Okay. I can do better. Yo, you're right about that. You get called out by someone close to you, because people close to you should be ones able to call you out. And then you should be able to turn around and say, damn, you're right. Right? You don't lose anything by doing that. And not when you get called out, it takes you 5, 6, 7, a month, right? It takes you 30 days to come back to the person and say, you were right. You were right about that. No, you should be able to pivot quickly. You should be able to say, yo, you're telling me something about myself. Yo, E, you don't do this. You need to do more of this. And you're part of that group, part of that circle that I've made available that they can critique me. Not someone on a page saying, you should do more of this. Chill. Chill, buddy. Right? You might be right. Let me get to that. All in due time. But if you've never subscribed to the channel, you've never commented on something, and you just drop in and want to stir something up, yeah, I don't really care. I'm just gonna let you rock. Okay. Hey, okay, you think so? That's cool. Okay. I'm gone. Right? Never reply, scroll right past it into someone else that actually contributes to the channel, someone that actually wants to see this thing grow. People that say, yo, this should be bigger than it is. And then we could talk about how the YouTube algorithm is a fickle mistress, but it is what it is. I'll take the critique. I'll become sharper for it. Especially when we started this channel, there was a whole host of things I was doing wrong. A whole host of reasons that this is getting off the ground and it's improving. People say, oh, I couldn't hear you here. This audio went out here. Okay, let me go back and retool, real key, practice again, see what I'm messing up. Oh, I can catch the pitfalls here. Okay, you need to do this. You need to do this. Okay, when you were dropping the videos, they were dropping so close together. People are like, yo, I need a break in order to get to all these. So we space them out now. This has happened it's a trial and error because I know I don't know all the things. People come and say, have you tried this? Try this software. Try that. Try that. Okay, cool. Let me emulate. Let me watch and see what works. Let me try to make small incremental improvements. That's how you get better. You don't get better by closing yourself off and say, I'm an expert on YouTube. I've never posted anything on YouTube. I'm an expert. Don't talk to me. Shut up. You're part of the problem. It doesn't work. It doesn't hold any type of logical water. I know you want to be upset, but it's okay to be upset and also to be wrong. To pivot and say, I was wrong about these things. Let me redirect. It just means what you're supposed to be an adult. And I know it's a scary word. I know it doesn't sound cool, it doesn't sound sexy. No one wants to adult. No one wants to look at it like that. But the reality is right now we're acting like inflamed toddlers. You heard something, you don't like it. Doesn't matter if someone comes and say, hey, I know you're upset, but you got to eat. You got to drink your water. You got to eat your vegetables. You're just upset. You say, no, I don't want to do that. That sounds stupid. You're part of the problem. You can't see, you can't understand why I'm so upset. I get it. I still want you to be good. I still want you to be healthy. So you still need to adhere to these things. You're upset because you think something's wrong with the TV. I turned it off. I'm trying to tell you, I turned it off. Yo, relax. Be upset about it tomorrow, right? When you have the strength, when you go to bed, you'll feel better. In the morning, the TV will be back on. You could be, if it's not, you could be upset then, but we can address that. Right now, I need you focused. I need you to look at this. That's it. Trying to adhere to some sort of integrity when it comes down to the truth should not be grounds for your excommunication from nation, from society. You should not be labeled as insensitive and ogre, insert your choice word, because you wanted to say it's not 62 million. It's 1,000 of these people that registered for this. It's 1,000 of those people. 62 million is the site itself. 62 million people claim on YouTube. That doesn't mean the people that found the link posted on YouTube to Telegram are the ones culpable. Look to the Telegram, pressure them, find out what's going on there. Oh wait, you read the article, they already did that. They prosecuted 70 people from that. 70 out of 1,000, nowhere near enough. You're outraged about something that's in the state of having a conclusion. If you read the article, you would know this was not this year, this was last. What are we supposed to do for that? How are we supposed to correct that? How are we supposed to, be real and help you through some of this stuff when you're not ready or you're not willing to be helped on your own? We just end up being at a loss, which would be fine if we were just kind of standing there and creating the space for you to be upset. While you're upset, you're lashing out on us. You're nicking, cutting, stabbing into us. Eventually, we take our ball, we just go home and say, best of luck to you. I don't know how to help you. I don't know how to treat you. You seem to be more concerned about being upset than finding a solution. We want to be solution oriented. That's how we're kind of made up. We want to leave a lot of your pain and frustration and your fear for safety. We want to do those things, but we can't while you're covered in thorns. Internally screaming, love me, protect me, but you guys are the problem. Okay, we're the problem. We're going to take a step back, another step back. When you see we're the men, they're not approaching, they're not doing the things, they're not being chivalrous, they're not standing up, they're not changing our tire when the side of the road. We learned. We listened to you when you wanted to simply be hyperbolic and be upset, be in those throes. We learned. We're going to give you more of your space. You want to feel safe? We'll give you more space. There's detriments to that. There's detriments as in when it is time for you, when you need that help, you need that assistance, when you need someone to come and protect you from the other bad men, those bad actors. We've already developed a culture, a generation that says, leave them be. This is the downside of it. You just don't get the space and the solitude from men. That protection, that community protection that would have been there is also gone. You can call it what you want. You can try to shame men and get them back in, but all the old tricks aren't working. All the old techniques aren't working. Your gameplay, your game book is outdated. The only other play you got right now, the simplest play, the one you got left, you got to love your men. You got to love your men. You've tried shaming them. You tried guilting them. You tried making fun of them. Right now, the big push is call them DL because they chase money. They don't pay attention to you. They like this. They don't like this. You call them DL. You call them gay. But you have to understand, after a certain amount of time, it does not matter how much if you've been pinching us so long, it has now become numb. The skin is numb. The nerves are dead. The pinch is inconsequential now. So now when you pinch us again, we don't flinch. We look at you and say, what are you doing? What are you doing when you need that protection? And we're just looking and say, I've got no protection left to give. Unless you're close to me, you're one of mine. You're in my family. You're my girlfriend, my wife, my soulmate, whatever. Those is what I'm going to protect because it's intrinsically tied towards me. But you on the outside, as an unwed woman, I'm looking and say, unless I can properly judge exactly what I can do, how much I can do, that I don't want to jump in and interfere and fight off this man who for then you to turn around and fight me off, or you for then later on come and sue me for something. I'm going to be a good witness. We'll call the cops for you. I hope they get here soon. Outside of that, I can videotape a lot of stuff. That all harkens back to these larger issues that we're seeing. You're upset that men are not upset, that men are not decrying the same things that you're upset about. You're seeing women be attacked, being killed by husbands or soon to be husbands or mentally ill. What's happened in Shreveport, what's happened in Virginia. You're seeing all these things, and then you're upset that men are not up in arms. Well, the men are upset, but the people responsible are already caught. We're not going to go out and lynch other men because what specific men did. We've always been trying to have this more, a specific conversation when you say it's all men, saying, name the people that did you wrong, those people. Let's get the story. Let's understand what's happening. It's not all men. You go on a bad date, there's a problem with all men today. Cool. What happens, right? Genuinely, what would happen? Most men would just say, okay, we just won't date you. This is your outlook. It's all men. Okay, cool. We'll just leave you alone. But you don't want that outcome. You don't want to talk about what that actually means. You're just paving the way for your own loneliness. And again, it's something that men have been comfortable for. When you try to say there's a male loneliness epidemic, men say, since when? I don't feel lonely. This is just a normal state of being. Giving you guys your space, giving you guys a grace. If I can, in the meantime, sort of convince one of you guys to love up on me, right? To touch my wee wee, I'm winning. I'm winning. But for the rest of you, I don't feel like I have to convince you. Right? I don't feel like I have to go out of my way to teach and tell you that, yo, we're not evil, we're not vain. Not all of us are like that. I just see you and I say, best of luck. I the way I was raised, I still do some of the small things. Right? I still place you in the proper place when I'm walking with you. I'll get up if you're elderly and I see if I have a space for you on a train or sitting in the airport. I'll help with your bags if you ask. But I know all of this is optional. Every bit of this is optional. That's where we are today. When you understand where's chivalry, where's the community, understand that things like this, they don't seem like they matter. They don't seem like they're tied, but they're interconnected. You refuse to say, hey, I was wrong on this. I know now it doesn't matter that I want to tell you, correct you about what's the truth of the situation. You just want to be upset. You just want to wear your crown of thorns like somehow it's going to protect you. Let it. Let it. We'll just do our thing over here. And then when you see it was better together, you understand that it just adds on years of work that has to be done to help bring us back together. This is not a black thing. It's not a white thing. This is a straight up stupid gender thing. That's my take on it. So for you guys that did, listen to me rant for about an hour, you guys, I might be doing another live tomorrow, sometimes in the early morning, in the mid morning, early afternoon. But yeah, besides that, I got more content coming out tomorrow, 4 pieces. And I'm trying to put together a larger little video thing, but that's more of a creative project. For those that you guys did make it out here, of course. I'm always going to ask you, subscribe to the channel, right? Like the stream, like all the streams. Maybe I can set up the 24-hour one, or one that I'm going to leave to play and not drive myself crazy by coming back and forth and checking it. Besides that, guys, I will see you on the next one.